Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. As you can tell, neither one of us is Bob, and that's okay. Bob is on vacation this week again. He's going on vacation a lot, and it's just rude.
I know,
So,
lazy.
so he's such a slacker. I really hope he watches this later. Calling him a slacker. So once again, I guest hosted the last time he was on vacation. My name is Autumn, and I am the head of children's here at the wonderful Main Library. And with me, I have Sheldon Burke. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Sheldon.
Hi, I'm Sheldon Burke. I'm the head of adult services at the South Regional Broward College Library.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see each other better, and everyone else can see us better, which I'm sure they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Um, so we have quite a few interesting stories for everyone today. It's a little space heavy, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I was just like, oh my gosh, all the stuff space. It's all great. Yay. So, Sheldon, we'll go ahead and start with the story that you selected. So go ahead.
Oh,
If you
hold
can
on.
remember. Oh, no. So, I'll just go ahead real quick. It's the about the congressional UFO hearings. So it sounds
Yes.
fun.
Hold on. We got
Okay.
it. I think you either had to share it or I had to get the permission to share it.
You can just talk.
Oh, okay.
Let me,
Yeah,
let me.
so what we were discussing was the New York Times article at House hearing videos of unexplained aerial sightings and a push for answers. And also there
Mhm.
was another article about the first congressional hearing in about 50 years on UFOs, which is amazing. So I was a little hesitant to go with this because then everyone thinks I have like a tinfoil on my head and I love UFOs. No, I was actually a UFO skeptical until the Defense Department released a report, I believe last year or 2 years ago. So this is a follow-up to that report from the Department of Defense, and it's also a creation of a task force to monitor unexplained sightings. They went over videos and recordings from pilots and different members of the armed services and showed videos that were declassified that show objects that they couldn't readily explain. So, and then you had Congress that's talking about, okay, so we actually really need to monitor this and we need to have reports fairly like frequently because there's been a rise in reportings over military sites of these events. So they're concerned that it's Russia and China, to which I'll actually put on my tinfoil hat and just say this. Um, I don't believe so because we've seen what Russia's capable of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair.
and it's not anything that's like mysterious. And China hasn't been like a major power until fairly recently, I would say. I wouldn't say in the 70s and 80s that they would have developed something that we can't track or explain. I mean, you have orbs and triangles that are flying with no way of propulsion that's visible. So I don't know. It's very interesting. It's different. And I just like the topic because now we're actually having open discussion about it.
Right, right. I saw in the article it talked about the last round of congressional hearings was basically about the Air Force's Project Blue Book. So, which was, their investigation into um, pretty much any sort of UFO sighting from Roswell on. And so I like in these current hearings how they talked about we haven't collected any materials, trying to dissuade anyone from talking about them. I mean, people are still going to, in fact, in someone even in that was sitting in on one of the hearings, um, discussed about how it's a cover up and like, okay, um, I have an opinion about that. No, they're not covering anything.
Well, they're not doing it well. They're
No,
having an open discussion about it.
right. And to be honest, yes, I don't think it's Russia, given the current state of things there, as we've seen broadcast on television pretty much every day. But I think a lot of it is probably things that we may be working on that we don't necessarily want to be like, hey guys, look what we're doing. And so it's like, oh my God, it's a UFO. Ah.
That's very true. It could be
So
that.
I mean, you have different programs, things like DARPA, who actually are, trying to get private investment into developing new technology for military applications. So, is it aliens? Probably not.
Yeah, I would say probably not as well. I mean, it raises the possibility, but you're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, no. Yeah, maybe like last year it would have been like, oh, it definitely could be Russia or China, but no. No. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe there is a possibility of China. They do have their newer space program, and I mean they're on the moon ish with their
Sure.
little rabbit rover, you know. So that is a possibility, but pretty much anybody else, it's probably us or private industry that is making these things. Or some really good like CG artists. I don't know. Or really bad, depending on what the video looks like. So
Exactly.
but yeah, no, that was pretty interesting seeing these poor guys. I feel bad for the Department of Defense guys who have to sit there and listen to a lot of the conspiracy theory stuff that is like, are you covering this up? And it's like, no, I'm not covering anything up, man. Come on, give me a break. But then they're like, oh, we had to go into private meetings to discuss. And of course, now what are they talking about in private?
Yeah.
And tinfoil hat. So, it's the people who are really hardcore into, the truth is out there and whatnot aren't going to believe anything they say anyway.
No,
So all of these open hearings really aren't going to do a whole lot, pretty much.
I agree.
And having seen the way people have reacted with the pandemic these past 2 years, I am terrified that if they're like, yeah, there's aliens out there, now I'm not going to be able to find toilet paper for the next year. So keep it under wraps, man. I would like to be able to keep getting toilet paper. So, but okay, so the first one that I found, and man, when I started reading this, I was like, oof, oof, boy, did I pick a dense old article
Yeah, it was
going
quite
about the,
dense.
the fusion law. I'm like, oh crap. I got like halfway through it. I'm like, I have no idea what this is talking. So apparently, because I know nothing about fusion, so I'm a librarian. Yes, I technically have a science degree, but not that kind of science. So, when they are creating fusion in small test environments, they have this. Oh my gosh, what is it, like a tomaka? I think is what it's called. So it looks like a donut. It's this little donut shape, and in the 80s, a gentleman came up with this law. I believe his name was Greenfeld. And you can only put so much hydrogen in fuel into the little tomaka, the little donut guy, in order to create the plasma that initiates fusion, that creates fusion, that causes it all to happen. And he had this threshold, this law that you can't put any more than a certain amount or else it all just goes to crap. And so what has happened is recently in Switzerland, they've discovered that the reason why there's that threshold is because of the turbulence that is created inside the little donut. That the turbulence within the plasma causes the cooling on the outside of the gas. And so it causes, when you add too much fuel, it causes the whole operation to break down. But they found that if you can inject it in a certain way while it's hot, right? So if it's all at the same temperature, it's not going to work. But if you inject it while it's hot in certain points, then it keeps going, and you can add more fuel, which creates a better reaction. I do believe I halfway understood it.
Okay, good.
Basically.
When you selected it, I was like, wow, wow, this is
Like,
dense.
oh my God.
She understands. Wow.
I really don't. But I do understand that it could lead to a big breakthrough as far as energy production, which is obviously something that we need to look towards, considering environmental issues, running out of certain fossil fuels and things like that. And I mean, even as far back when I was a kid in the 80s, fusion power, da, 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 and it's like this unlimited energy source of the future, right? And so this is like one slight step towards that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets rid of one of the barriers to it. So it's an improvement. As I understand it, I mean, this is very important because we can't get there to getting carbon neutral with just solar and wind, as I understand it. We don't have the battery capacity to do so. So exploration of these energy sources and getting rid of the barriers that are in place for some of these promising sources is quite important.
Right, right. So, while I may not understand like 95% of that, I do understand that, and like you just said, it's a step in the right direction, and we're getting there. It could still be 25, 50 years down the line that this sort of energy production becomes viable to make our stuff go, because we're not going to get rid of stuff. We're not going to get rid of stuff.
No, not at all.
But
we have a very promising donut future.
Exactly. Donut futures are high. Buy. Just kidding. I mean, if you want donuts, that's great. Buy donuts. So the next one, which isn't as dense, thankfully. When I read this, when I first saw it, I thought it was hysterical, talking about the billionaires in space. So handful of people paid $55 million to hitch a ride to the International Space Station. So this is above and beyond Blue Horizon or Virgin Galactic, just doing the little loop and coming back down. They spent I want to say 18 days. They spent quite a bit of time on the International Space Station. And apparently the company who put them up didn't think about the strenuous schedule they were putting them through. Let's see. I want to say, who is the company? Axiom Space. So they had a rigorous schedule of experiments and things they had to get done. And this would be a heavy schedule for professionals. But these are just dudes who chucked out $55 million to go to space. And now they're having to do like serious actual work. Now, the article, the headline is "Billionaires Sent to Space Weren't Expecting to Work So Hard on the ISS." Now, to be fair, that makes it sound like they were complaining about it. And they actually weren't. They weren't complaining about working. They were just like, oh my God, that was a lot. And it really was. One experiment, it doesn't say what the actual experiment is. It should have only taken 2.5 hours. And I think they said it took like 3 or 4 times as long because these dudes don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. It's not their thing. And I mean, if they sent me up there to do it, it'd probably take me just as long because that's not my thing. It's not what I do. But I just thought it was funny that they're like, oh, these are billionaires and they're complaining about it. No. But they're getting ready. They're going to be sending more. I mean, they actually send a professional astronaut up there with them, who is the commander. But yeah. So, oh, I'm sorry. It was 15 days, 15 days. They were up there, and that's a long time for somebody who, I'm going to guess, doesn't have the extensive training that most astronauts do when they enter these space programs.
Not at all.
Like, I mean, they do. They obviously they have to do health tests and training and whatnot. But these are not NASA astronauts or European Union astronauts or whatever. These are not that. And they were up there with. It was a total of 11 people on board the International Space Station, and apparently that is getting pretty close. You know,
Yeah, it is really cramped up there, from what I've been told.
Yeah, I'm like, that's another.
I don't know. When I think about this, I think like, oh, this is just a vacation to space. So when I think about it, I'm just like, wait a minute, they paid money and now they're working? That's a weird concept to me.
That's great. They paid a lot of money to go work in space.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, hey, here's a broom.
Right? I would be a little upset. Be like, wait. I just paid $55 million and you want me to do stuff? Nah. Like, well, walk home, so we're not taking you back. But yeah, they're getting ready to they'll be sending up another crew on the SpaceX Crew Dragon. They're preparing for it. Doesn't say when it's going to go up, but it's going to actually have an astronaut from the UAE. So,
okay.
I mean, it's, it's good stuff. And hey, they got to pay for all this stuff somehow. So $55 million a ticket seems to be the right number, apparently. So, but that does seem like you're kind of getting stiffed if you're paying $55 million and you have to go work.
Yeah, it's like, okay. This is probably more work than they do on Earth. Oh my gosh.
Right? Right. For real. So I saw this about the billionaires in space, and then I saw that SpaceX had launched some more Starlink little dudes. I don't know what they're called. It's fine. Just little guys. There we go. And it reminded me, I was talking with my husband over the weekend, and somehow it came up about what's called Kessler syndrome. And what that is it was a guy wrote a paper, last name of Kessler, surprise, in 1978. And he talked about the exorbitant amount of crap that we are just launching into the orbit of Earth. And in 1978, he postulated that by the year 2000, there would be so much garbage up there that it would just, the big stuff would just start bouncing off each other and creating a hazardous debris field for future missions and things like that. And apparently, he revised that, and we're pretty much at that moment that at any given time, stuff, if I think there was like something like 3,000 objects are currently orbiting the planet that are no longer operational.
Oof.
Right? And these things are hauling it. Okay. It's easy for rockets and whatnot to avoid them. The bigger concern is if they start bouncing off each other, even just tiny little fragments, you could kill somebody because it's going super fast, and now they're going to die because we just have a bunch of crap up there. Even weirder, I was like, oh my God. So I saw this movie on Netflix, which was really amazing. It's a South Korean film called Space Sweepers. And
I haven't seen it.
Oh no, it's really good. It's so much better than it should be. So much better. It's funny. It's poignant. It tugs at your heartstrings. Great movie, little plug, Space Sweepers. And the job for these people is they live in space basically, and they have little their ships that go out and they reclaim space garbage and basically take it to a recycling facility for money. And they find something along the way and whatever. I'm not going to spoil it, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. We need that. We need people with their little, basically with their space garbage trucks to go around and pick up this crap and recycle it. And there you go. Unfortunately, our technology is not there to be able to do that, sadly, but yeah, so definitely check out the movie Space Sweepers on Netflix. It is super good. Again, it's a South Korean film. It is probably just as good as a big budget Hollywood sci-fi movie. Like the technology that they used, it was fantastic. It was a really well done film. So I'm also to just do a quick plug of another show that I told you I wanted. I wanted all this space stuff. So if you have Apple TV Plus or Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, whatever, I don't know what it's called. I have it, whatever. The new season of the new season of For All Mankind is going to be launching in next month in June. And again, not going to spoil because it's from oh my goodness. He did Star Trek Next Generation. Oh crap.
I can't help you. I'm not as Trekkie.
Oh my gosh. He also did Outlander, the TV show. Oh my gosh. I'm totally blanking. It's fine. But it is an alternate universe of the space program starting in season 1 starts in the 60s. In the late 60s, it totally rewrites everything. And what's interesting is once it starts with a rewriting of our space program, our entire history changes. So just those little moments. And the next season, the 3rd season that starts in June, we are going to Mars. We are landing people on Mars, and it's in the 90s. So,
wow.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it just totally rewrites everything. Okay.
You're not talking about the actor Sam. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
No. He's a producer and writer.
Okay.
Oh crap. What's his name? Now it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna have to look it
yeah.
up. So if
We're
you
gonna
have
librarian.
right? Do you have a plug for any programs or anything you wanna?
Oh yeah, I have a plug, but it's
put out
not
there?
space related. I wish I'd knew.
It's okay, whatever. It's fine. It's totally fine.
So let me distract you while Autumn looks that up. So my plug is for my OG book club, Original Gangster Book Club. So I wanted to do a classical book club, but I wanted to make it a little cooler than a regular classical book club. So OG stands for Original Gangster, which is someone who is into something that is old school. And in the month of June, we're going to be covering Moby Dick. We're going to take it a few chapters at a time. So if you want, you can join me at South Regional Library in person from 1 to 2 p.m. in person at South Regional Library to go over the chapters. I really hope to see you. I mean, even if I don't see you, I'm going to read the book anyway. I'm just saying facts.
I'm reading it.
Yeah, and then once we're done, we can get together as a group and we can decide on the next book we want to read.
Awesome. That sounds great, which is really funny because you say Moby Dick, and that's pretty much one of Captain Picard in Star Trek, one of his favorite books. And even Patrick Stewart played Captain Ahab in film versions of
Yes, I think the HBO. No. Or was it USA?
Or was it TNT? I don't know. It was one of them. Who knows? But he was in it. That's all I know. So tie it back to Star Trek, which is great. Is Ronald D. Moore. So he started on Star Trek The Next Generation. He actually did a tour and just chucked a script while he was on the tour just onto the set of the Enterprise, and wound up somebody read his script, and that's just how it worked. He also did the reboot for Battlestar Galactica, another big plug. That's an amazing show. And then also Outlander, oddly enough. I mean, it's still time travel, so
yeah.
And now he's doing For All Mankind. So this guy he's really got his stuff together. But so also would like to promote our upcoming summer learning program. So it officially kicks off on June 1st. You can go to broward.org/library/summer and sign up right now. So we're doing kind of like a soft rollout of it. And it's open for everyone, not just kids, not just little kids, all teens, all adults. And there's programs throughout the system at our different libraries. Sheldon's got some programs down at South Regional. I've got some here at Maine. We've got them all over. And our summer magazine will be coming out online shortly. So you can see what programs are going on where and sign up. We will still have some online programming. So if you're not comfortable coming into our libraries, that's totally cool. We understand. And so we have some online programs as well. But if you want to come in and see us, we have some in-person programs too. So check it out. Go onto our website. This has been fun, Sheldon.
I
Bob should
know,
go
it
on
has.
vacation more often.
Seriously, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so much better than Bob.
This is my show now.
He would love that.
I'm like, sorry, you have to get a new show, sir. This is mine. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. And again, it was wonderful having you here, Sheldon. I really had a good time talking about some
Thank you, Autumn.
dense fusion law.
Yeah, I mean, we managed to line it all up into being something about space without even like collaborating on it.
I know, it just happened. It just happened. So that was great. All right. So have a good afternoon, everybody. Or if you're watching this on the Facebook Live, it's not live, Facebook premiere later on today, then have a good evening. And Bob will be back next week. So see everybody later. Bye.